Alright, so the episode already just started, and we're seeing Hajime inside the pod thingamajigger. I thought it was a table when they gave the description in the game, but apparently it's some type of pod. And as we see the pod, it pan out behind like glass, and we see like a bunch of people. Who are they? Okay, I don't know what's going on in that pod that Hajime's in, but how did it, 1, make his hair longer, 2, make his eyes red, and 3, from what we've seen in the opening, and also made him like an inch taller? How did it do that? Wait a minute. Okay, so I'm not too far into the opening. I'm at the very first scene where you see Hyoko, Ibuki, and Maharu. I noticed all 3 of them have red eyes. Are we already that far into the display? I also noticed in the next scene that there are different colors as well. Boy, we really are that far in, huh? Oh, I noticed another thing in the opening. The part when Hajime and Izuru Kamakura are standing like behind each other. I noticed that like Hajime in that part of the opening is like fading away. He looks like he's like, yeah, he looks kind of like he's just like fading away. And I noticed that at the end of the opening, Chiaki is smiling this time. I don't think she smiled before in the opening. Okay, thanks Hajime, you ruined a girl's heart. Anyways, we go back to the 77th class, and we see that they're cleaning up the classroom. I'm guessing this is the end of the year, or maybe something. There's a really big focus at the beginning of Fuyuhiko. Ibuki, as annoying as she is, she intrudes in them, and she goes on about how close they've been. She's really been newsy, We go back to, well, we don't go back to, but we see Chisa and Sakakura, and they're with each other, and Sakakura actually managed to get a trustee's ID that he was asked for by Chisa in the last episode. Sakakura mentions that one of the trustees had disappeared, and I'm guessing that's how he got his hands on it. I've noticed another thing. Sakakura noticed that he's a third wheel. Okay, so I'm guessing it's not the end of the year. They just moved the building to another building. The building that Mudakata had built. Okay, so at night, Chisa sneaks. I think she's still inside the new building. I'm not 100%, but I think she's still inside the new building, and she's sneaking around. She just has a hat on, so. Okay, well then, I didn't see this coming. I was talking a bunch of trash about the guy before, we changed scenes and actually see him, and I paused. Right now, I'm paused at where his face is, and what triggered me is I heard the execution music, and I kind of knew from there that what I'm about to see is an actual execution. Didn't see one of those since the games. And, none other than Junko Enoshima herself that's going to cause it. Ouch! Junko scooped out his eye with a spoon. Ouch. Ouch. It would have been way more painful if it was a fork, but So they go back to Chisa, and on the computer she finds a periodical report of the Kamakura project. Okay, so in the report, they actually, because I was kind of confused with why Hajime just got inside a pod and that was the operation. No, this periodical report actually shows and explains everything that happened, and they did mess with his head, the way we thought. Dang, then we go back to Junko. Dang, she already knows about Izuru already. Okay, so we see, I'm guessing Junko and Mukuro actually snuck into where I'm guessing the Izuru Kamakura project is happening. So I'm going to take a wild guess and say they're fetching themselves a little Izuru Kamakura. There was a retina scanner they had to get, and that's why Junko scooped out that one guy's eye. Oh hey Izuru, how you doing, buddy? He's just kind of chilling there inside a very, very dark room with just a bed inside of it. With his long hair and his glowing red eyes and that black suit. And he's in the same pose he was in when we first see him in Danganronpa 2, kinda. But you see Mudakata, because what Mudakata just said, he said he hopes that, the super high school level kid, Izuru Kamakura, he didn't say his name, but he's talking about Izuru Kamakura, he hopes that someone like who has every super high school level talent doesn't become hostile to humanity. Well, kind of almost sorry to break it to you, buddy, but then he said, what if something malicious uses him? Again, sorry to break it to you, buddy, but you know. So yes, Mudokata here is actually predicting everything that actually will happen. We go back to Junko, and she's like fangirling, super fangirling over only the presence of Izuru Kamakura. And he's just looking at her with a blank look like, what? So at one point, Junko actually tried to attack Izuru, and he just curve stomped her. He didn't even move where he was. He just kind of laid his foot on her head, or was at her back. So then, of course, Mukuro tries to attack Izuru Kamakura, and he just kind of slaps her to the side. I'm not even sure that was a slap. He just kind of slowly moved his hand towards her face, and she just like flew to a wall. And you want to know what Izuru Kamakura said? He just said how boring, you know? It's just boring. So I'm just going to take a wild guess and say that Izuru Kamakura is OP. He is strong. So I'm guessing if there was ever a Danganronpa fighting game, Izuru Kamakura would be the character that gets banned in every tournament. So Junko mentions that, you know, she's full of despair, and then she says that, Izuru, you should be filled with despair as well. He just kind of says, you know, despair. Well, he said, let me read what it says, because, you know, I've seen it right here. He says, no matter how logically I analyze it, it's not necessary. Alright, so Junko goes on like a big rant of how, you know, I'm guessing I should say she's describing despair. I'm guessing she's also describing despair as well as describing all the pros of wanting despair. All the advantages of having despair. And Izuru Kamakura is just kind of there listening, you know. And I am guessing after she finished, he just kind of curse stomps her face. We go to Midori and nothing. Who cares? We go back to Junko, who's, I'm guessing, hospitalized. Thanks to old Izuru there. So we have a flashback of what happened after the whole situation with Izuru, and we see that, yes, Junko went unconscious because he curve stomped her head. And Izuru stands up and says that he'll be waiting for her. You know, he told Mukuro to send that message, that he'll be waiting for her. We see the real Midori, who's actually headed to a hospital. Well, if I know hospitals, I say Junko was in that same one. Well, guess who's walking out? So as Ryota and Junko walk past each other, Junko turns Ryota around and gives him like a huge hug and says that this must be another fateful encounter. I don't really get it. Yeah, this episode's not as hype as the 6th episode of Future Arc. It's just hooray, we get to see Izuru Kamakura. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, it's great and all, yeah, but we already know he exists and stuff. We already know how he came to be. Oh yeah, and another thing. I'm gonna take a wild guess here that Danganronpa 0 is not too far away from now. Anyways, I'll see you all in the next one. See you then.